Did you hear that there were 37 candidates killed in the Mexican presidential race? And that made way for their first ever female and Jewish president? Yeah, conspiracy theorists are having a fucking ball with this one. But the only problem is that that didn't actually happen. See, all the articles are reporting this kind of headline and making it really sensationalized. But if you actually do the due diligence on it, none of them were presidential candidates. They were just candidates in other electoral seats all across the country. Only 14 of them were even officially registered candidates. The other 22 were just aspiring candidates. And this was a big election year. There was like thousands of seats up for grabs. And of those thousands of seats being voted on, 38 people got killed, which is still a lot. Mexico's got a serious cartel problem. So now that we've cleared up that part, let's talk about the Zionist conspiracy theories going on here. And let's just start by saying the world is complicated. People are complicated. The truth is not simple. I'm just going to present to you what I found with my digging. I'm not perfect. But before we leave this slide, we need to point out her close relationship with Carlos Slim, the richest man in Mexico. He's not a good guy. He runs all the banks in Mexico. He's good buddies with all the cartels. Might have something to do with why this woman won in a landslide. But she is representing the party of the former president, AMLO, Andres Manuel Lopez Obrador. And he's kind of a controversial figure. We don't have time to get into it. But he really shook things up in Mexico, like in a socialist direction. Like in a ending the war on drugs and stopping prosecuting drug lords and like policy of hugs, not bullets. Yeah, the kind of policies that like sound like maybe they're being genuine and they're going to work, but maybe he's just like working with all the drug lords. I really don't know. You'd have to ask some smart Mexicans. As for Scheinbaum, her parents are Ashkenazi and Sephardic Jews. Her parents were like secular. Her grandparents were religious. So she grew up doing holidays with her grandparents, and other than that, she's a non-religious Jew. And the conspiracy theories are flying all over the place, but like, it's actually not super clear what's going on. When you want to know about Jewish stuff, you should always go to the Jewish publications, like the Times of Israel, because they are not shy about like talking about how Jews all work together and about how they should big up each other, and like they're not shy about it. Like if it wasn't Times of Israel, it would be called anti-Semitic conspiracy theories. But here they point out, and in another article I've confirmed that she does not belong to any synagogues or Jewish institutions. Like she's not involved in the Jewish community at all. She has pursued a strategy that keeps her religious background hidden without denying it. Side note, I also learned that former President Carlos Salinas had Jewish roots. That dude was corrupt. Whole other rabbit hole. But then, back in 2009, before she got into politics, Claudia Scheinbaum condemned Israel's bombing in Gaza that year. Quote, "Nothing justifies the murder of Palestinian civilians. Nothing can justify the murder of a child," she wrote in a letter to a local newspaper. But she's remained completely silent on Israel following October 7th. I mean, she's been the mayor of Mexico City for like 4 or 6 years now. She's like deep in politics, and she's staying very quiet about Israel right now. This Jewish journalist had this to say about the Morena party, the party of her like predecessor and now of her. It's this kind of socialist party. Quote, "It's crucial for the world to know that Morena is the party responsible for deceiving the population, embezzling funds, leaving us without essential medicines, and making our nation increasingly resemble Cuba or Venezuela. The narco cartels have never been more entwined with the government than they are now," he concluded. Oh, sorry. That's a quote by Ilan Arditi, a Mexican TV and radio broadcaster, being quoted in this article, where this journalist goes on to say, the ruling party of President Andres Manuel Lopez Obrador, the former president, identifies with left-wing populist lines and always close to the Palestinians and anti-Israel causes. So the guy that came before her was kind of anti-Israel. And in this journalist's opinion, it would have been much better for the Jewish community if there were a non-Jewish candidate with a strong commitment to Israel and Judaism. So the Jewish people don't seem super psyched on this. But like, it's hard to say what's really going on here. Side note, this lighting is sick. The sun is like setting out there, and there's like a crack of light that's just like hidden right now. I got my fake bird silhouette. Check it out. Okay, anyways, so this woman beat this woman, Xochitl. Sorry, all my Mayan homies. I can't speak your languages. So she's indigenous. She's not like Spanish Mexican. She's indigenous Mexican. You can tell from that name. And she was endorsed by the World Economic Forum back in 1999. I don't really know what that, like, 100 global leaders of the future, like, I don't know if that's significant or not. I'm just trying to dig into the conspiracy theory shit for all you homies. But you see how it's like kind of confusing what's really going on here? Like, let's play out a few scenarios. Kind of like leftist, socialist president that's not getting along super well with the US and is not good with Israel at all. He kind of like revolutionizes Mexican politics and kind of wraps a whole bunch of parties into one, runs the government for 6 years, and Claudia Sheinbaum enters into his party and becomes the mayor of Mexico City and gets tight with him. And now they only do one term per president in Mexico, so he's out, he can't run again, and so now she's running on his party again. So she is the new him. And he was not tight with Israel, and she doesn't necessarily seem tight with Israel, but she's Jewish, it's like hard to say. So you could argue that like she's just like a socialist like him, and she's gonna go all socialist with the country, and she's gonna be all progressive and shit. Or you could get like all conspiratorial and be like she's infiltrating the party and taking it over, and she's like actually really tight with Carlos Slim and is totally just like gonna like slowly subvert Mexico. I don't know. I don't really see any evidence that she's a Zionist. Like, obviously people's views can change from back then till now, but like she wasn't a Zionist back then in 2009. Like, I don't know. I don't have any answers. All I'm saying is that sometimes the truth is way more complicated than a headline. And just because conspiracy theories are cool does not mean that they're always true. But also, just because a conspiracy theory seems to not necessarily have proof doesn't mean it's not true. It just means that you haven't found any proof. And so you should just, pump the brakes. Because no, there were not 38 presidential candidates assassinated to make way for the Jewish Zionist super overlord woman. That's not what happened. Mexico is just like a narco drug state, historically and presently, and people get killed all the fucking time. Like, all the time. And I can't imagine that this dude's policies of like letting the narco drug lords just do their thing and not worrying about it, I can't imagine that that really helped that much. And so if you ask me, I think we're probably just in for more of that shit. Like, I don't know. You guys do the dig. Let me know if you find anything I missed. But listen, I don't write the rules, man. I just work here.